Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to show a final overview of my Intel TV. This time, since I'm mainly showing the exterior, I've decided to put my camera on auto exposure and whatnot, so it's not going to be as dark. And I'll show you why I don't leave this on auto most of the time. So I'm going to turn this TV on. Right now it's using composite. See, it looks okay with auto, but if I try to zoom in too much, you start to see flicker. There's some flicker, and you can see the screen's kind of oversaturated. Generally, that's why I have it on manual settings, so that I can better control that kind of thing. Downside is this shitty camera does not have very good light sensitivity, so as a result, the rest of the thing is pretty damn dark. But today, I'm not really going to show off the screen that much. You've seen enough of that. But I've finalized most of my mods to this TV, so I'm going to go ahead and disconnect it, and I'm going to show you what I've done. Alright, let me move this keyboard out of the way. Give you a tour of what I've done. I finally had a power drill. It's not in the camera here. Let's see what I used. It's got a Dremel head on it. Can't really afford a Dremel, and I got this out of pawn shop for like $5. So you know that it works. Oh, I'm only reusing it on plastic, so it's not like I need a high RPM Dremel for stuff like that. But anyway, the reason I needed that was because I've added some proper stuff to this TV. And I'll show you what I've done. I have a toggle for composite, simple little toggle switch, and then internal speaker mute. Right now it's off because there's a slight buzz in the audio. It's because the audio I see is not really that great on a cheap TV like this. There's a buzz. And I'll show you the back. Alright, plastic on this is kind of chewed up because initially I had this hanging out here, but I've drilled a hole and mounted it proper. So that's where the coax goes in. This DVB connector is not attached to anything right now. I might decide to solder that to the to one of these leads so that can be used as an antenna for that, but it's not like I am in a rush to do that. And then of course the composite input right here. I have one more thing I'm going to do. I replaced a pot on the let's see if I can get it in view here. See, it's too dark even for this. Too dark for even for this, but I replaced the one of the pots here with a trimmer pot, pinchiometer, I think is what you call it. Variable resistors, basically the technical name for it, for the vertical size control, because I noticed the old one, which I actually have up here, the old one right here, this little thing. It's a 15K of variable resistor basically, and it has a shorting issue, I think. Either that or it's losing connection, so that it actually, vertical deflection would shut off if I fiddle with this a little bit. It's very intermittent, so I just took the damn thing out and put in one from one of my other portables I'm not using. The issue is, this was a 15K resistor, a variable resistor, replaced it with a 100 ohm resistor, and it works, but it's very sensitive. Even the slightest movement causes a big change in screen size, and obviously that's not desirable. I have one coming in the mail. It has a knob on it and everything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drill it on the side of this TV, somewhere below here. I'm going to have it exposed over here so I can better control it. Basically, everything I want to do now is easily controllable now. It's not like my previous TV where it's all just dangling out the side of a TV. That was just really practice. So I'm going to hook this back up and maybe give it one final demonstration. Buzz on the TV isn't actually that bad. I don't really hear it once I'm actually got something playing on the the audio. I don't have an audio jack for this hooked up. I decided not to bother with that. Plus, because I can have the I can have the tuner provide the audio for me, since I use this VCR. So that's one trick I do to get around not having it, because the tuner does a decent enough job of that. So. I did not have a switch in place for the actual composite jack. The way the switch I have hooked up now controls the pin 3 output of the video IC here. So I tap directly into the composite input of the video amp circuit here. So whenever I have this connected, it kind of shuts down the tuner output. It overrides it pretty much and interferes with it. So that's what the switch is for. It turns that off. All right. So this is what it looks like through composite. Not that bad. Let's see here if I can get my mouse into view. The problem with having it on auto exposure here is the flicker. It's really bad for CRTs, as you can see here. But it's got clear, legible text and everything. And now I'll show you the difference with the RF, which I can switch to pretty easily. All I have to do is disconnect the composite. And then put the tuner on channel 4, which is where my VCR is at. At least I think it is. Oh yeah, I have to turn on the... There we go. The tuner on this isn't half bad, but it's not perfect. And it's really hard to tell the difference on this camera, but you can see some interference. Some of this is just always there. There's some defects with the way that this tuner works. There's always this crap over here, and there's very fine scan lines going horizontally across the screen, which is kind of weird. I could kind of tune it out with the fine tune knob, but it's not desirable. And I'll try and give it a sample of the audio with the usual Three Stooges tape I have ready here. It's actually on commercials right now.
Money problems are always full of drama. Sending money shouldn't be. Western Union makes it easy with over 200,000 agent locations worldwide. You give us the money, we give them the money. For every story, Western Union.
Now I'm going to switch over to composite. As you can see, I did not use the switch yet, so they're sort of overlaid over each other. Since the images are mostly the same, it doesn't actually cause vertical sync problems and whatnot. But there, now it's switched over. The fine tune knob can actually, this is where the part where I actually turn off the output from the VCR, but I don't have to do that because the audio gain control on this, which I think is what's controlling the black level here, kind of goes into a little bit of an overdrive when you have both sources enabled here. What I usually do is I just bump up the brightness knob a little bit. All right, here we go.
Performance of an Intel Pentium 4 processor with HD technology is just $679, a 15% savings, plus free shipping.
And this time I just used fine tune to get the audio in. Let's fast forward this crap. So no one came here for commercials. Three Stooges, classic. And of course, because the composite from the VCR is pretty strong, so anything white on screen causes some terrible noise in the audio, as you can see. He's talking to his turkey. Or is it chicken? I'm not sure. The buzz is only audible if I have it really loud.
Or vice versa. Well, who cares? You look committed. No, yes, sir.
Then I'll switch back to RF here. This is what it looks like if I don't flip the switch back. Now it's back.
Are you married or happy? Very clear, like nails. Say to the children. Like mud pies. Hey, mister, make like this. Thank you. Pardon me. Say, did you have a pink tie on? No? Well, here's your lip. Sit right down, you're next. What are you up to, breakhead? I was
And of course, with the usual
Get
stuff.
back there and stuff that turkey.
That's what the tuner is. But yeah, it's fully functional TV. I preserved the original tuner's function and have composite in here, so it's a decent monitor. I use that. I actually watch YouTube on it. Mostly stuff where I don't really care if there's color information on the screen or not. Been babbling on, so I'll go ahead and end the video here. Alright, just a quick after video here. I got the knob in and installed. Go ahead and show that off. I still have the TV open, but this is what it looks like internally. Lighting on this camera. Sucks. As you can see, it's a standard 3-contact variable resistor type of setup. I have it soldered into the board where the old one went. The vertical linearity pot is mostly fine. I haven't had any issues with that. That one's a 4K ohm one. I might replace that too if it ever gives me issues. But for now, this is just fine right here. Show you how well it works. So I'm going to fiddle with it here and show you what it does. Works pretty well, so that's pretty much what I wanted. It's a nice big knob on the side that I can easily adjust. You pretty much make this a PAL TV if I wanted to. There you go.